Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I've been listening to all this bull out of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine over the last 24 hours. And let me tell you what, you can just see, like Tim Draper said, you can just hear the panic. I mean, if you've ever seen it, since I got in this space, I've never seen it more than after a Ripple win in a lawsuit. The panic is everywhere, and I'm going to show you. I've talked to what I would call some of the good guy legal minds in this space, not these. I've watched these paid legal hitmen in the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine for years, and now I'm watching the same people and come out. And you don't have to look hard. The second they start talking, go to their LinkedIn profile, and you'll see exactly where they come from. You'll normally see a reference to Web3 or DeFi, and all those roads lead back to Ethereum or Bitcoin. It never fails. I can spot it a mile away. I can see it around the corners. Always. And so and they always go on they're always teed up on the typical shows. They go talk to Laura Shin and get this, she just looks like a Forbes contributor. And those people are the same people who have delivered us this Bitcoin Ethereum nightmare for the last however many years. Same people. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are the same people that delivered you FTX. But all of them seem to pop up in the same circles every single time. And this time, they're popping up now don't get me wrong, some of them like part of the Ripple ruling. The part they don't like is that XRP is the only, and I do mean only, digital asset with legal, in all caps, clarity. Because it is. And that includes Bitcoin. Even though Brad Garlinghouse, and I heard Craig DeWitt say it, even though they say Bitcoin and XRP have clarity, I know they've got to be politically correct where I don't. I get it. Only XRP, folks. Legal clarity. Bitcoin is just the opinion of whoever's there right now and whoever was there before them. At some point, you might get someone who has the opinion that, I don't really think Bitcoin is a non-security, because I have a video of Homeland Security saying they met with the 4 people in the common enterprise that are Satoshi. Somebody could show up with that opinion. If the digital asset investor was the chairman of the SEC, that's what I'd be saying. Well, there's got to be at least somebody out there like me, because I'm not crazy. I've got the video. We've all felt like we're taking crazy pills for years now, because we have the video, we have the timeline, we have their own words. We're not the liars. We're the good guys. How uncomfortable it must be to be in the liar group and to have to sit there and every day go on and just over and over and over tell a narrative that you just know is not true. All right, enough of that rant. I'm going to show you what the good guy legal minds have what I've pieced together in talking to them. And they're not deep inside sources either. I'd love to have some deep inside sources, but anyway, let's start with XRPL HQ, who is one of my sponsors and does have a section where we can look at prices. XRP is at 75 cents down here, it looks like. So not too crazy going on. Crypto Insight UK, look at this. The monthly setup is eerily similar to that of 2017. It's crazy how well pullbacks line up with all-time high price targets too. I personally believe $20 is possible, but $148 is out of reach. So he's saying 148. I don't know if he's really saying that or not. Is XRP about to blow our minds? Let me read that again. I personally believe $20 is possible, but $148 is out of reach. Not in the middle to long term, but anywho. All right, so this is what piecing all this together, okay? And you're going to have to remember, I won't say who, but we played a video the other day where, I don't remember, wait a minute. I don't think I did play it. I'm not going to say that, but I have heard, this is not the first time that I have heard, even before this case was over, this is not the first time I've heard from people that really are in the know and people that matter through people that the SEC most likely will not appeal this, and the reason they won't appeal it is what I'm going to show you here. So we've seen the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine. I mean, some of these people like Gasparino, I don't know what's going on with him. This guy's completely unhinged over it now, and I don't know if it's just because people have attacked him. I don't attack Charles Gasparino. I give Charles Gasparino credit where credit's due. He came in with Eleanor Terrett and covered ETHgate and all that when nobody else would, and I do, and I try not to get in the, arguments and all, but that doesn't mean I can't show you things and show you the things he's said that I disagree with and why. So we'll do that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine is out in full force trying to scare everyone over the Ripple ruling. That should be a tell. The way they're acting is unhinged. I love it. Here's what I'm being told is most likely by the good guy legal minds behind the scenes. Post-judgment settlement. And I saw Charles Gasparino why would Ripple be trying to settle if they won? Well, that doesn't even make sense. There's a lot of reasons you would settle because just like Ripple has acknowledged, you had some things, and Gary Gensler's acknowledged, you had some things Gary liked and didn't like in the thing, and you had some things for Ripple that they didn't like and liked in the ruling. And that's how you have that's why you would do a post-judgment settlement. You might be able to come to some agreements based on what happened and have a post-judgment settlement, because different ones of you going forward might also have risks, and there might be rewards by settling. Well, here's what I'm being told. Ripple agrees to a fine. So remember, Gary needs a win, okay? Gary, if they appeal this thing and this thing goes 2 or 3 years, do you think Gary's going to be there? And you can't forget, if we've learned anything by covering ETHgate, we've learned that Gary is only there for his own career advancement. We've heard that from every single direction over the last 2 years. That Gary at first he was trying to get the Treasury job. He lost that because he got his butt handed to him for so long. He lost that. Then we heard he was going to go off and be a politician. But we know that he needs something good to come out of his tenure at the SEC. And I believe that's something good. And apparently, I'm not an attorney, but the attorneys that I've talked to, they think there's a good chance that the way Gary gets something he can hold up as a win is a big fine. And I think, and the legal minds I've talked to think, that Ripple would agree to that fine under certain circumstances. And those circumstances might be, what do they ask for in return? Well, remember, they called institutional sale. They're saying that Ripple's institutional sales were securities, right? Well, if you remember in the lawsuit, there were 1,700, and I remember because myself, and Digital Perspectives, Brad Combs, we've caught all kinds of hell over pre-allocated contracts, even though everybody knows Greg Kidd had an option contract for 1 billion XRP. He said it to me, okay? And we also know that R3 had an option contract on XRP. And then we know that there were 17 contracts inside of the lawsuit that we didn't get to see because I think Ripple requested that nobody was able to look at them for their business reasons. I get it. But there's still those contracts. Well, we don't know what kind of contracts they had, but if they had 2 option contracts for XRP that we know about, how many were in those 1,700? That's my point. So it was never ridiculous, the pre-allocation thing. It makes sense. It's what business people would do. You and I are not the only ones that see the potential of XRP if the price went crazy because of massive utility. Brad Garlinghouse has said they would bring massive, I don't remember how he worded it, massive utility or something in those to XRP by using, in the utility. Anyway, you see the point. So, what if? And I was told by one of these legal minds that this is something that could be done. How about a no action letter for Ripple's ODL sales that the judge said were securities? And I said, remember those 1,700 contracts? I've been told an appeal is too risky. In other words, a no action letter, just for those of you that want to understand it, again, I'm not an attorney, but a no action letter would basically say, all right, we're not going to go after you for your ODs. We're not going to go after you. Maybe we're not going to go after you for ODL sales today. I don't know if you can do it for going forward or not. But this is something that would be in Ripple's best interest. And in return, Ripple gives Gary a record fine. I don't know what that would be. And then I said this, I've been told that an appeal, I've been told this by two or three different attorneys that are good guys that would be telling the truth and not just trying to carry a narrative for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine. An appeal's too risky for Gary, because even if he was going to be there, which he probably wouldn't be there, because if he loses his entire crypto enforcement agenda and the ability to go after any coin he wants to pick off. How about that? So if they appeal it, my understanding is that it would then apply to the entire industry, and I guess I'm saying that right. But yes, the fear is real for a reason. There's a reason you're seeing all these people flail around. And then you had this from Eleanor Terrett yesterday. New District Judge Torres has referred Ripple case to Magistrate Judge Netburn for general pretrial includes scheduling discovery, dispositive pre-trial motions, and settlement. They've got the settlement box checked, so I guess that means that could be one of the things that they could discuss, or if it was going to happen, it would happen during that. Then Gary, I'm not going to play this whole thing, but it's got 361.4 thousand views for a reason. Gary looks depressed. Gary looks like he's been whipped like a puppy. I'm just going to show you the first minute or so.
Switching gears, I want to ask you about crypto.
There you go.
You didn't think I was going to let you off the hook, Chair Gensler, did you? All right, so last week we got a major ruling from the Southern District of New York on Ripple. How does this ruling change your approach, if at all, your abilities when it comes to regulating crypto and specifically crypto exchanges?
Okay, our approach has been the same. It's about protecting investors, facilitating those who want to raise money, and the markets in the middle. And that's true whether it's in other parts of the securities markets or the parts of the crypto markets that are securities. And in terms of the decision, we're still taking a look at it. We're pleased with how the court's addressed itself to that a token for institutional investors is a security, how they address themselves to fair notice, disappointed in other aspect about retail investors, but we're still taking a look at that and considering it.
Cool.
All right, so he's disappointed. He knows he lost on retail. Now this is Charles Gasparino. Charles Gasparino is really, I mean, look, like I said, I don't try to bash Charles Gasparino, but he's really acting kind of, what's the word, unhinged. And maybe it's because he's been personally attacked by a bunch of people, and I get all that, but I'm not going to wade into all of that. I'm going to just show you where I disagree with what he's saying, and I'm going to start right here, just play you half of this.
Again, this is a business that needs clarity, regulatory clarity, and we got these mixed rulings, and it could be appealed, and that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, we're talking to people, we're very close ties to the SEC, and Gary Gensler.
Now remember, John Deaton said, well, the same people you're talking to are the people that said I was crazy for even entering this fray, and that I didn't have a chance, and they were all wrong. And so you got to understand, why were they all saying that to John Deaton? That's the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Wall Street machine. That's who's talking to him. And they know, I mean, that's the problem. That's the problem we've had all along in this space, is that they've been trying to carry a narrative that just ain't so.
Almost said it himself. We are assessing the situation. They're most likely going to appeal it. They're going to try to appeal it to the second.
And that's not what I'm hearing either. That's not what I'm hearing either. It's too risky to appeal is what I'm hearing.
Federal court. They're trying to get what's known as it's an expedited appeal. You have to ask Judge Torres to put an expedited appeal. It's known as something called.
And I'm also being told. See, literally, the shoe is on the other foot now. All this time, the SEC's been stalling, and now all of a sudden, the shoe's on the other foot. Now Ripple can stall, and I've been told that this expedited appeal he's talking about is like a tiny even chance of even being something that the judge would even agree to.
I can't say the word interlocutory. Interlocutory. That's it. You got it. It was close. Say it again.
No.
You don't want to say.
It's
interlocutory. I mean, maybe this might be my very able producer spelling it out to me, Ellie Terrett. What is it, Ellie? No, it's not her. Anyway, it's kind of like that, interlocutory. And if Judge Torres grants it, now she's got to grant it, right? Then it goes right to the Second Circuit for appeal. If she doesn't grant it, they'll appeal. This thing is going to take a couple of years. It could take a couple of years because there's another trial. Remember, they've sent it to the courts. Part of this case, if you read it, and I've read it twice, it's involving Garlinghouse and a guy named Larson who's helped create Ripple. There's some negligence factor that they're going to try a court. Okay, so right now
Now I want to mention one other thing that Gasparino did on Twitter. He's like really been going hard on Brad Garlinghouse about this stuff, and this is the one issue I have, is that in the entire time we were covering ETHgate, and we had the receipts, we had video, the timeline, this guy never went after Joseph Lubin hard, never. And we had it all. I mean, we had it right there where you could see it. Never. And I think that's important to note. Why is he going so hard on Brad Garlinghouse? And who's he talking to? That's the bigger question. Who's he talking to?
Is a very muddled.
Who's influencing him is my question.
A ruling that nobody seems to think is good, except for some XRP holders. They saw their price double, at least, right? Goes from 30 to 70. Although, again, it's off its highs. And, there's people are starting to parse through this saying, well, is it really the far-reaching thing, or is there something more?
Dumb question. Can the SEC appeal?
They are going to appeal. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
I can't.
See, now he says they're going to appeal. I don't believe it.
Yeah, they're going to appeal to the second. The question is, do they appeal and ask for one of these expedited appeals, so this thing doesn't sit around for 2 years and becomes the law of the land in some weird way? Remember,
God forbid it sit around for 2 years. The way that they made all of us XRP holders wait for 2 or 3 years and didn't give two rats you-know-whats about us sitting waiting. God forbid that now Gary Gensler and all these Wall Street Bitcoin, Ethereum maxis have to wait for 2 years while XRP is the undisputed champion. God forbid they have to do that.
They could theoretically, the SEC, sue in another federal.
You see how sue in another you see all the slimy different things, that all these slimy things, anything they can think of to keep Ripple from winning. This is it's an amazing thing to watch, these unhinged people and how they're acting right now. It really is. Well, the one thing that none of them are talking about, including Charles Gasparino, does everyone realize what this ruling means for all those involved in ETHgate? How many Ethereum, because remember, the judge said sales of these tokens to institutions is security. How many Ethereum tokens were created and sold to VCs, institutions, while they thought they had a non-security status? This is what has people reeling. Remember this? Here's Joseph Lubin bragging about he can issue tokens at will.
No, we did not close Token Foundry. So Token Foundry is...
Slashed it.
Token Foundry is a project that has been enabling us to issue consumer utility tokens, and we've done many of those launches of tokens for our own companies as well as third-party companies. We're adding to Token Foundry a group called Consensus Digital Securities. Will announce its existence at some point soon, and so we.
Is that breaking news?
Sorry?
Is that breaking news?
It's not really breaking news.
No?
So we will.
Okay.
You can
I've got my tech crunch
call it
hat
that
on.
if you want to. So we will continue to do consumer utility tokens, and our friends at the SEC and other organizations around the world are comfortable that if you construct a token properly and you market it properly, then it can be an element of utility on an open platform.
Folks, why is this? If there's anybody on planet crypto Earth that should be in a lawsuit, it's that guy. Anybody. And everybody knows it. ETHgate's real. ETHgate's what they really fear. It leads to all the freaking bad guys, including China. And that's the fact, Jack. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that all roads lead to China. Thanks for listening.